Okay. I'm glad you sent me the
going on? How
because
you
I
doing?
did not know how to do that. I was like, I'm here.
That's funny. What? I thought you were a whole IG
Actually,
expert.
I'm barely on IG. I'm just a lurker. But if I'm doing something fun with my life, I go ahead and post it. Just to make the haters mad.
Okay, cool. So I should have gave you some
Okay.
instructions ahead of time. So this is my bad. But a couple of things. One, do you have anything to set your phone up on that you would like pop up?
Let me see if I can put this together real quick. Okay.
Your light, your
good.
light
Yes, I
is
just
great,
got this
though.
light. Okay.
Light,
Is that better? What?
your light is, and you know what's crazy? It looks like it almost looks like natural light. It looks like it's daytime where you're in. It's actually crazy. Yeah, good investment. Good investment. Other thing, can you possibly shift back just a little bit so that way, like you're like headshot type of view? Perfect. Boom. That's beautiful. Okay. Yep, we love it. We love it. Yeah. So my virtual assistant is gonna take this and turn it into like a YouTube video, but he's gonna like cut it in half and like make both of us side by side, so it looks like more like a YouTube video. But in order to do that, we have to be like proper proportion in here. So yeah, again, my bad for like giving you a heads up, but appreciate you for still being prepared. Super good stuff. Usually I would have waited until I went over the house rules to have brought you on, so that way you didn't have to sit on here being bored, whatever. But I know we hadn't DM'd for like maybe the past few hours. So I was like, okay, once I saw you, I was like, let me just go ahead and bring you on here so that way we're good to go. So I'm gonna go over a few house rules. We're gonna actually do this kind of like backwards from how usually it's done. I'm gonna go over a few house rules, and then people have already pre-submitted questions. We're gonna answer the pre-submitted questions first, and then after answering the pre-submitted questions, then we're going to get into your story. Now, again, whatever you're not comfortable with answering, don't answer it. It's totally cool. Whatever you are comfortable with answering, you can definitely answer. Then we'll get into your story, and then at the end, other questions that people want to ask you, like we'll be able to just kind of take on like a few different questions that are on here. What's good, everybody? I see people commenting, people saying what's good, what's good.
Hey, y'all.
No, the reason why you know some of the people is because when you joined my live, it merged both of us. So people that follow you see that you're live right now. I've never done it live.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, don't get it twisted. I'm not that popping. It ain't like
maybe I've met a few people who knew you, so.
I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there's a lot of people I know that know you. All right, super cool. All right, y'all. So as I was saying, we're gonna go over some house rules first. So first and foremost, be respectful, loving, graceful to my guests. Be loving, respectful, graceful to one another in the comments. This ain't one of them messy platforms where people are just here being rude, throwing shade, all of that. Of course, if somebody's rude, if you're unnecessarily disrespectful, I will check you, because unfortunately you're not in person for me to put my hands on you, so all I can do is check you virtually. But hopefully the goal is that we're all loving, we're all respectful and kind. Yeah, to myself, my guests, as well as those of you who are here in the comments. Aside from that, like I said before, we're going to jump into some of the pre-submitted questions. Then I'm going to basically, my guest, she's going to share her testimony, her story, her experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything she's seen so far. Then we're going to jump into your questions that you're going to be submitting on here. Just a quick heads up, this live will not be, it'll be saved, but it'll be posted later. So if anybody wants to immediately rewatch the live, you will have to be a part of the Patreon community to rewatch the live. And it's like the cheapest tier, you can like rewatch the live, but there's like other tiers and other cool stuff too. Of course, you'll get access to the live. I'm like such a creature of habit of calling people their IG names. What is your
my real name is Aaron.
Name? Mm-hmm. Aaron. Okay, totally cool. Every time I take a sip of my drink, whenever I'm in a meeting or whenever I'm on live, I always feel like I'm doing product placement.
It's advertisement.
Y'all know what it is. Texas Me Black. Anyway, so super cool. So first and foremost, what's up, y'all? For those of y'all who do not know me, those of y'all who came in through Aaron, or y'all just recently followed me and you're like, what's this nigga be talking about? So yeah, my name is Cyrus. I work in tech. I did a 4-week, at the time it was a 4-week tech boot camp. I don't have a degree, don't have a background in anything technical, don't really have a long corporate career at all. Did a 4-week boot camp. 8 weeks later, through the training of the boot camp, the instruction they gave me, as well as my hard work and due diligence, I got a $90,000 job in tech working remote. And then in about 6 months, I scaled to a $157,000 job. And then 2 to 3 months after that, I scaled to another job that put me at $230,000. And now I'm a chief marketing officer for a tech startup. And in between that time, I've been helping people get in tech, giving free education, free information, free resources, as well as people like recommending certain boot camps to people, whether it's the boot camp that I did or other boot camps. And I also offer discounts into those boot camps because those boot camps do cost. And the boot camps do give like an affiliate kickback. So 9 times out of 10, if someone's done a boot camp or program, if one of y'all have done one, like maybe like the one Aaron has done, they do provide you with like an affiliate link, so that way you can put your friends and family on, so they can get in this dope industry too, and they give you some kickback, they give you some nice little money on the slide, all of that. So yeah, I guess that's basically the whole spiel. I just want to kind of quickly go through that. Yeah, check out my YouTube and other stuff for like more info on that. So we're going to go ahead and jump into a few of these questions. Again, Aaron, my apologies. Some of these questions, again, if you feel comfortable answering, you can answer, or you can pass it to me, whatever. Because again, some of these questions all of these questions are typically questions that are unique that I haven't answered before. Because I try not to rehash questions I've answered. So that way it saves everybody here time, and it can be like new content that can go up to people in the FAQs. So the first question, and you're in tech sales, correct? Like you're a
actually,
SDR,
I'm a sales engineer, but I applied to be a SDR. That's the funny thing about it. Yeah, so I applied to be a SDR, and that's what I really wanted because I went to CourseCareers, and my goal was to go to careers after I got a job and like have the job kind of like pay for it. And so now I've been working this job, and I'm a sales engineer. I'm doing demos. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. I know.
You are
I got
a
really
unicorn.
lucky because everybody was saying like, oh,
people...
everybody's trying to, get into sales engineering, but you accidentally, got the job. But they like at first the title was a sales representative, but whenever I got the job, it was actually a sales engineer.
Dang, that's a good bait and switch.
Yeah,
it's like,
I manifested that. I really was like, yeah.
Talk about favor being on you. That's crazy, because I know a lot of people. So first off, for clarity, for those of y'all that don't know, obviously I'm a sales engineer, but I do want to be clear, because some people cherish sales engineering. Some people do, because I'm a sales engineer, and they assume, oh, Cyrus is making, well, I guess I'm not one right now. I'm a chief marketing officer now. But people are like, oh, Cyrus is making a lot of money, so I want to be a sales engineer like him. You can make just as much money in tech sales as you do as a sales engineer. You could be just as rich, just as balling. So, but for those that genuinely just want to be a sales engineer, like I'm sure like Erin, where she's like, no, I actually prefer to do that.
I mean, you made it look really good.
Yeah,
like whenever I was watching all your videos, you made it look like it was cool. So I was like, okay, I want to be a sales engineer. Yeah, that's it. That's what I want to do right there. You looked like you were free and you were traveling a lot, and that's all I like to do. And so I need, and I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm lazy, right? But I needed the type of job where I could kind of like do what I like to travel, and I need to do whatever I do. Yeah.
I can tell that from your face.
And so, most people, like, we're working jobs because we need money, not because we actually just love working. Like, that's how I am. I mean, just to be real. And so, I mean,
I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I think that I believe that men start to suffer and cave in when we're not working. And like, I believe like we're built to be hunters and to be working and going after things. And I believe, I mean, still women are still like, as a traditionalist, I would think like women are still, generally speaking, are still naturally built to work, but built to do a different type of work. So like, I believe men, we thrive when we're like working out in the world and like being hunters and taking care of our family. And I believe generally, again, generally speaking, this doesn't apply to everyone, but generally speaking, I believe women still thrive in working for their families.
Yeah,
But
I
it being
mean,
a
I
different
felt like
type
I
of
needed a
work.
little bit of freedom because I
So
don't have any kids yet. And so I was thinking like, I do want to be a good mom. So I'm just like, that I could eventually have that will allow me to be with my kids, be a good mom, but at the same time, make some money.
exactly.
And and not be so stressed out. And so, you know, the way that you spoke about it, I watched all your videos and I followed all your rules. And the way you spoke about it, I was like, yeah, this is something I really think I can do and not be stressed out.
Yeah, no, that's super dope. I love it. Yeah, no, and it's great. And mind you, again, y'all, for clarity, that's still doable as tech sales, because really it's more about the company that you're at. Because if a company is remote, nine times out of 10, their tech sales people will be remote and their sales engineers will be remote. But I do love it for you because, like, yeah, to your point, like whenever you do have children, you know, and I don't know when you'll have children, but let's say hypothetically speaking, it'll be 3-4 years from now, whatever. It's like at that point, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, I don't know how much you're making. If you feel comfortable sharing that, at some point we could share it during this live, but at some point you'll be making more than enough to where, whether it's like, you know, you and your husband, you and your boo, plus like your income, what you'll be making at that point will be more than enough to like have like a live-in nanny where you're still able to be there with your children, but not have to directly be like engage with them the entire time you're working. So you can pop in. Like plenty of my coworkers that I've been in countless meetings. I mean, not even just meetings. I mean, like real demos. I've been in demos where coworkers' kids like popped in the room.
And it's not a big deal. Like nobody's tripping. They're like, oh, okay,
exactly. Yeah,
I mean, I was like, I'm always on the phone with my coworkers or on a call, and they'll be like throwing a ball, and their dog will be chasing it, and they'll be still doing the call like with the phone in their hand.
Yeah.
And it's like nobody's tripping. Like, you know, I like tech a lot. It seems like people are a little bit more like laid back, but they're also forward thinkers and they're really smart people.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember working in corporate feeling like, you know, I was around a lot of like dumb people, you know, and I was like, where are all the smart people who make money at? That way I can have real conversations that are interesting, you know, with other people.
Lo and behold.
Yeah, it was in tech.
Yeah, no, that's super. No, that's it is a beautiful thing. I love how you addressed it, where you're saying like, yo, people are, you know, very chill, very like, it's not like the uptight weird stuff. It's like literally dog could jump on their lap in the middle of a meeting, and it could be a big corporate meeting with like a really important deal that's going on. They could be like playing with their cat or their dog or with their kid or something. And it's like, there's none of this weird, oh, get your child up. Like, it's like, everybody's just real. It's like, oh, people start talking about their child.
They'll be like,
oh,
can I see your dog? What kind of dog do you have? And then everybody will start talking about dogs.
Yeah, exactly. No, oh my God. Yeah, they love talking about dogs. That'd be the part of the conversation. I'll be checked out. I'd be like, all right, can we get back to this now?
Don't let
me.
them get on the subject.
I'm not an animal person, so that's just me.
You're not? Well, I have a little small dog, but okay. I love my little dog, but I'm not going to talk about it all day at work.
Folks love them. Man, that's dope. So super cool. So you might be poised to answer this question then. So the first question, someone asked, how is a sales engineer's performance measured?
Ooh, good question. I mean, I just started, so I don't even know yet.
Yeah. So how long ago did you? So the first company you got hired at wasn't a sales engineering role, was it?
No, this is the first company. So this is my first company fresh out of CourseCareers.
Because I remember you DM'd me and you had told me that you told me that a company that just hired you, and you said you were gonna do careers, so that way you could eventually pivot. But I guess once they flipped.
The company that hired me, they had the role listed as a sales representative, like an SDR. But whenever I got the job, they put the intern in that role and put me as a sales engineer.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so dope. Wow, that's so
And it's funny because the intern is training me.
Oh my God. That's wild.
And we just have so much fun on our calls all day because
Yeah.
it's like, you know, the interns, you know, they just like fresh out of college, it's fun. Yeah. Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
major. Major congratulations. I love it. So typically I tell people that training for sales engineering, so training in tech in general, is not like you get hired at a company and a week later you're doing your job. Usually training is anywhere between 2 to 3 months. Have they told you how long your training is supposed to be before you're out in the field?
No, they didn't. They didn't really even have like a structure for everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's like one person, like there's the intern, and then there's like our boss or whatever, supervisor. And she was working on her own for so long that she just really needed somebody in this role.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of like new. So also while I'm like, you know, just starting this job and I'm training, it's been 2 months. And so I'm thinking about 3 or 4 months. I've already done a few demos though with her help. But I'm thinking that like I've been putting together some, I guess like some documentation so that when we hire the next person, they won't have to like learn, you know, on the fly like I have been. And I feel like they really appreciate that. Yeah.
Dang, so I'm assuming either it's a startup or it sounds like they recently launched their sales engineering department.
Yeah, it's like, it's not a startup, but they are a company that's based out of Barcelona, like in Spain. And so they are, and so they're just like in the States, and they're trying to get it together. And so my territory right now is Georgia.
Yeah. You know, that's such a big opportunity for you because like the fact that you're already a part of helping them build out some of their processes and things, that puts you in a very significant position within the company that like, as you grow and scale in that company, like you'll be one of the influential pieces there where like they really won't want to lose you, like straight up.
It's
so that's
true.
really
I see that happening. Yeah.
I love it. So keep killing it. Like I know you're already gonna kill it, but kill it. Like stay on your grind. I love it so much. Oh, I love it so much. Oh man, this is beautiful. So again, congratulations on that. So to the question, how are sales engineers' performance measured? So first and foremost, y'all, it does mainly the main thing is that it depends on the company, because some companies will have slightly different KPIs or key performance indicators or metrics that you're supposed to hit. But generally speaking, as a sales engineer, it's not your job to make sure that the product sales. It's not your even though it's called sales engineer.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not on you to make sure the product sells, because and the reason why, I'm gonna be real with y'all, it's not even fully 100% up to a tech salesperson to sell the product. Now, the reason why I know that sounds weird, it's like, well, whose job is it? Listen, now mind you, yes, so account executive, so in tech sales, so I'm someone who I have a little bit of a background in sales. Normally in sales, everyone's your customer. You're supposed to you're supposed to convince everyone to buy a product. But in tech sales, it's slightly different, where it's like you're not trying to force everyone to be a customer. It's really more so you're trying to find the right customer. And once you know they're the right customer, then you want to convince them that they're the right customer and that your company has the right product for them. You never want to sell someone that's not an actual good fit for your product. The reason why is because in traditional sales, what will happen is that I would want to sell this coffee mug to you. I would sell the coffee, so I would tell you why you need this coffee mug, even if you didn't need a coffee mug. The reason why is because once I sold the coffee mug, that's it. I sold the coffee mug. You could hate the coffee mug later. You could never use it. You could never buy another coffee mug from us again. It doesn't really matter, because guess what? I already sold you the coffee mug. But tech isn't like that. Tech is more subscription based. You know, think Netflix. Netflix doesn't want you to pay for 3 months and then you cancel. Netflix wants you to stay with them for 2 to 3 plus years at minimum. So tech is the same way, where when tech companies sell their product or their software to a client or customer, they don't want a customer that's going to cancel after the first year. They don't want a customer that's going to cancel after 6 months, because it costs tech companies more money to have their account executive, sales engineer, their implementation team, it costs them more money to sell a product to a customer that will only keep the product for 1 year and then cancel and go to someone else. So it makes more sense to sell it to a prospect or a customer that will at least stay on for 3 years plus. So there have been times as a sales engineer, and I've even seen like account executives and tech salespeople tell a customer straight up, like, we actually don't think we're a good fit for you, and recommend like another company that's a better fit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it'll save us time and money to not go through the whole sales cycle with them. They buy I've literally seen customers try to convince us that they were like a good fit. They're like, no, like, we want this. We were told this is a good fit. And we'd be like, no, because you're going to buy it, and then in a few months, you're going to cancel. And we would have went through a whole 2-3 month process with you, and it would have cost the company so much money to have all of us be a part of this demo and be a part of the whole sales cycle, and then you end up canceling anyway. So we would tell them, nah, which is like, sounds crazy to people, but that's typically what it's like. So yes, it's a tech salesperson's job to sell the product. It's the SDR, BDR's person's job to basically lock in the prospect to where the prospect will talk to an account executive.
Yep.
The account executive's job is to qualify the customer, and then qualify what products and services they need, and then they will sell it to the customer. But whenever the customer or prospect, because they're not a customer yet, whenever the prospect says, oh, wait, I want to see a demo, or they have a bunch of questions or technical questions, or they're like, maybe they're looking at your company's product, but they're looking at your competitors' products as well. Okay, cool. This is where a sales engineer, in this case, Aaron, since I'm not a sales engineer anymore right now, so it would be Aaron who would get looped in, where they would bring her in to do the demo, where she would do a demonstration. Demo is short for demonstration of the company's product and technology. But the demo, it's not just a general demo of her just pointing at everything. It's a very strategically tailored demo specific to that customer or prospect. No two demos should be the same. They should all be very unique and specific. But again, there's no way we're going to teach y'all everything during this live, but at least wanted to answer that. So the way a sales engineer's performance is measured, usually, generally speaking, is you being available for demos, because no one can make you do a demo. You could say, oh no, I'm going to be on a break during that time. I'm taking that. I'm going to be, that's what my lunch is. And you could not do a demo, or you could say, or you could be doing something else, whatever. Or you could be terrible at demoing, which usually means that you're not spending time learning your company's product, and you're not working on becoming better at demoing. Yeah. So that's not meant to sound like a scary thing. Since I've been a sales
you really
engineer,
do have to work on being a good demoer.
Yeah, you do have to work on it. You do have to work on it.
It's a lot of work, and you actually have to learn the company's product like in and out, because they're going to be asking you all the questions and expect for you to know, and expect for you to be the spokesperson for that company at the time. Yeah.
No, that's real. I think that's one of the things that I'm going to be very real. I mean, whatever. I'm always going to be real. Look, every now and again, people reach out to me, and it's people, especially if I kind of know them and I know that they're not a very hardworking person. They reach out to me and they're like, oh, should I do tech sales or should I be a sales engineer? And if I know that they're not a studious person, I'm like, do tech sales. So a lot of people want to do sales engineering because you think like, oh, all I do is a presentation. I don't have to sell anything. It's a lot easier, because understand, tech salespeople, and I'm not trying to limit what their job is. They have a very, very valuable role in a company. But tech salespeople, they're not supposed to be a product expert. It's not their job to know all the products and features and everything the company can do. It's their job to really know the pricing of the products. It's their job to know the pricing, to know what discounts they can offer. Now, mind you, naturally, they're going to learn about their company's product over time. And if they want to do their due diligence to really stand out, they can learn the company's product. But it's not up to them to know the company's product. Yeah. I've worked with tech salespeople that have been at the company for years, and I was only a sales engineer there for 3 months, and I knew way more than they knew, because it was my job, just like Aaron said, to like really become what's called a product expert, to learn the company's product so that way I could answer high-level questions and demo. So for those of y'all that don't like spending a little bit of extra time when you're off work studying and learning some things, sales engineering might not be the thing for you. But yeah, I've only
It's
seen
true.
one
I've had
sales
to do a lot
engineer.
of studying. And that's why I wanted to be an SDR to start with, because I was thinking that I could be lazy a little bit to start with. You know, if they give you 60 phone calls to make, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna bust out my 60 phone calls and then I'm gonna go to the
Yeah,
beach. Like,
exactly.
you know, but
Yeah.
like, and I kind of just thought it was one of those things where you didn't have to, you know, you don't have to be that smart to do it.
Yeah.
You just do your job, you get paid a lot of money.
No, that
But
is true.
yeah, but you know, and then now, you know, being a sales engineer, I did have to put a little hustle behind my work ethic a little bit, but it's good and it pays off.
Yeah. No, that's very real. I will
Yeah.
say that two things. One, I've only seen one sales engineer ever let go. And I hate to say it, but I actually know him. And it's a young white dude who he actually didn't do a boot camp. I don't know how he got the job, but I mean, whatever, he got the job. And he and I worked at the same company before. And man, Lord, I hope he don't watch this live, but it is what it is. Hopefully, if he does watch this live, he'll see it as motivation. But he never watches my lives. But he hit me up about a month, like 3 weeks ago, and was like, "Hey, Cyrus, do you know anybody that's hiring?" And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Yeah, I got let go from the company." And I went and looked on LinkedIn, and I saw all the other sales engineers ain't get let go. Everybody else got promoted and stuff. And I was like, I remember when I worked with him, he was not like, so for example, the sales engineers at the company that trained me, he trained them. They got promoted ahead of him and started training him. And then literally the company was trying to promote me and another dude that he trained ahead of him too. So he trained the people that trained us, they got promoted ahead of him. And then we were about to get promoted ahead of him as well. The company felt bad, so they promoted him a month before they were promoting us, just so it wouldn't look like that crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But all of his account executives that worked with him, they actually would hit me up and hit the other dude up. And they would loop us in on their demos. When he was supposed to get looped in on their demos, they would skip him and reach out to us and ask, even though we were newer, they were like, "Nah, y'all demo." Even though half the time I was like, I only know half of what I'm doing. I feel so nervous and scared on these calls. They were like, "No, Cyrus, you're doing a great job. You're doing way better than some people," you know, talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang. And yeah, I was able to see really quickly. It was pretty obvious that he wasn't doing a lot to like really work on his ability to demo. He definitely wasn't doing a lot to like learn the product better. And so that's why people were able to like pass him. And eventually it led to him getting let go. And now he's looking to get a job. And hopefully he gets a job. He's a cool dude, but hopefully he learns from that. So yeah, to your point, to the point where Aaron was sharing, sales engineering isn't a job where most jobs in tech aren't jobs you can just kick your feet up and chill, but definitely not a job like sales engineering. Think of it like a doctor or a lawyer, where doctors and lawyers are constantly having to study because there's always something new for them to learn, new medicine, new procedures. Or a lawyer, the laws are constantly changing, so they have to learn new laws, or they have a new case that is a unique case, so they have to figure out how they're going to argue that case. It's the same thing with sales engineering. So I would say, if you're not a person,
all the meetings too, like that's the thing.
yes.
I have like most of my day is just like all meetings, and then I have to study on my own time because they're going to expect for me to know how to do my whenever the time comes.
Yeah, no, it's a real thing, and it's also not something. At first, I thought it was something where, oh, after I'm at the company for 3 months or 6 months, then I'm gonna know everything. No, it's impossible to know everything. There were sales engineers that had been at the company for 6 or 7 years. Not only did they not know everything, but there would be new stuff that the company came out with that I knew before they knew. So I would have to tell them about it. And it wasn't because they weren't hard workers and they weren't smart. They were smart as crap. It's just, again, you're 9 times out of 10, your company is either creating new technology and products that it's your job to learn, or they're buying other companies and integrating that technology into their technology, which, again, you as a sales engineer are going to have to learn. So that way you can demo it, or you can answer questions to customers and prospects. So they not paying bank in this industry for nothing, y'all. That's why I think when I first was talking about this industry to people, everybody was thinking like, nah, that just seems too good to be true. I mean, when you start working, you realize, okay, nah, they put you to work. You definitely working. But I'd rather do this and be in this industry than be in the majority of other industries in the world.
Me too. Yeah, and be working remote. And a lot of
Yeah,
these tech
that
companies,
part.
they have unlimited PTO. They give you stipends. They give you learning money. So, like at my company, they give us like 100%. What is it? Like they pay for all of our medical stuff.
Yeah.
Even if I want to go to therapy, even if I want to go to the gym, I pay for yoga, my membership, my phone
Yes.
bill. Yeah.
Love them benefits. Love them perks. Man, I've only been at one tech company that covered everything. And it's because they were an HR tech company.
Okay.
So it's like it made sense that they would it's like everything was covered. Everything for me, everything for my spouse or domestic partner was covered. I was like, this is crazy. Like it's just covered. Everything is covered. I was like, that's the craziest thing ever. I love it. All right, so yeah, so to condense the answer to the question, and we'll move to the next one. The performance is measured. Generally, it's measured by you being available for demos. No, you don't have to be available for every demo, but at some point, like they want to see that you're a team player. So one, your performance is measured by you being available for demos and how well you're doing in those demos. So again, it's not about the end result of the product being sold. It's really just about all the other account executives that you're working with saying like, yeah, this person knows their stuff. They're helpful. They're a good resource. And they don't expect you to know everything. 95% of demos I've ever done, and I'm not exaggerating, 95% of demos I've ever done, there was a question that was asked to me that I did not know the answer to, where I said, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
And I would say,
I'm there for you.
You said what?
You just say, I'm gonna check it for you. I'm gonna get back to you.
Exactly. It's that simple. But actually check on it and get back to them.
Yeah.
You know, but aside from that, it's like, so yeah, you're not expected to know everything, but you're expected to at least it shouldn't be something where you get the same question on 3 different calls, and every time you say, oh, I don't know the answer to that. Eventually the account executive is gonna be like, bro, what are you doing? Are you actually learning the product? So really, it's just learning the product and being available. That's really what it is. Learning the product, being available, and getting better at demoing every single day. That's really the biggest thing. All right. So next question. All right. So next question is: do companies have a clause that prevents employees that did boot camps from getting promoted?
They don't. As far as I'm concerned, they do not even care. They asked a few questions about the boot camp and what I learned at CourseCareers, and that was it. But mostly, I think it's because some people, they want you to come in a little bit fresh so they can teach you and like train you the way that they want you to be trained.
Yes.
And so they prefer for you to be fresh. I noticed that, and like, I mean, they were like happy that I didn't know anything.
You said they were like what?
They were happy that I didn't know anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like about their product and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, yeah, that and sales engineering. Yeah, because some companies want to teach you the way because it's easier to teach someone that knows nothing than it is to teach someone that knows a lot, but they know it different than how because it's a lot harder to retrain someone's mind. Yeah. No, that's good. And yeah, to her point, I agree. Yeah, companies, so that's, I guess I can't speak for many other industries. I don't know if the world is changing or the tech industry is different. Maybe the world is catching up to the tech industry. But yeah, the tech industry doesn't care if you have a degree. Generally speaking, most companies don't care if you have a degree, if you did a boot camp, or if you have a heavy background of transferable skills. At the end of the day, they want a person that's competent, a person that's good for their company culture, and some evidence that like you are a hard worker. Like that's the biggest thing. And so that could be a college degree, or it could be a boot camp, or it could be transferable skills, or it could be you had to hook up with somebody at the company, they put you on and you've been killing it at the company. Either way, when they look at you for promotion, this industry isn't an industry where it's like, they're like, oh, such and such has a master's degree. this person doesn't have a degree at all. That stuff doesn't matter to them, y'all. But that's because of certain people that have kind of made this industry what it is. The Steve Jobs, the Bill Gates, and I mean he's super older, but like plenty of people that have like paved the way in this. I mean, even Elon Musk has said he said college degrees don't matter anymore. What matters is a person being educated and hardworking. And so education could be whatever it is. We had an event recently, Aaron, our first tech event, and it was called Podcast in the Sky. It was a podcast that was like an event. And one of the guys who was there at the event, he's like a multi-millionaire in tech, very successful, been in the industry for about 10 years. And he said companies, because he's such a high level in tech. And he said, he said, we don't look at degrees any different than we look at boot camps. He said, if you went to a good boot camp and you have like some good experience and you present yourself well during the interview, he was like, it's all the same to us. Because at the end of the day, we're not like, nah, you went to Harvard and you didn't go to Harvard. It's like, no, like, you know, what's your experience, and or how well are you able to like communicate and show us that you're a good fit for this company? And so when a company likes you, they like you, you know. So again, that's why I'm always telling people this is a different industry. It's counterculture from what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, a lot better than corporate America.
So someone asked earlier about, generally we're going to wait till the end to get to the random, not random questions, but the questions that are popping up in the comments. But someone did ask a question, and I am curious as to like, what is your background? Do you have any type of technical background?
Oh, that's funny you say that. So, okay, so I was a project manager at DHL. DHL. It's kind of like Amazon, I guess. Yeah. So I was a project manager, and then when COVID happened, they just sent us home, and I had nothing to do. So I was just traveling, or you know, just doing nothing or whatever. And I also have like a small business. I've always been a type of person that I needed to make sure that I had another business, just because I know how I am. Like if the job tells me that I can't go on my trip, and I'm like, I don't know what y'all gonna do, y'all better find somebody because I gotta live my life. So I always make sure I always have like another job. So I have a side business. And so then when COVID happened, I just like put all my energy into that. But then I kind of like started feeling like like, you know, COVID was going away. My business was kind of slowing down because I had plant-based medicine. And so I was like, man, I need to figure out something else to do, because I got to have my little double income to feel, you know, a cushion. And then I was on Instagram, and I just saw your page one day, and I was like, what this dude talking about? Let me click on his his page real quick. So then I started stalking all your videos, and then I said, I'm gonna try CourseCareers first, because it was only, you had a discount and it was like $450 or something.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm gonna try that first before I go all the way and do Careerist. And so that was my background. I was a project manager, but before that, I was just a hippie girl, and I was just traveling around the world. Whenever I was about to turn 30, I started being like, I need to chill out. I need to go try to find me a man. I need to like settle down. I'm gonna go back to Atlanta, because I was living in Australia. I traveled like 19 countries on that side.
Oh yeah, I forgot you do live in Atlanta, because we messaged about that.
Yeah. I went to Afrotech. I was looking for you. I did not see you at Afrotech. Were you there?
And you know what? I think so. I made a big mistake. I ended up getting an Airbnb. I was in like a freaking castle. I got it was such a crazy Airbnb. It was so I got it just to make content, and I didn't even make any content. It was so stupid, but I got it, and it was so far away. It was about like it was roughly like a 15-minute drive from where everything was at with Afrotech. That whenever I was there, I kind of didn't feel like going back to everything. And then I caught that bug early that a lot of people got from Afrotech that got sick. I caught that bug early. So I wasn't at most of the after parties. I really wasn't in the mix the way that I should have been. So
it was so good. I'm so happy that I went, because I usually don't step out that much. And so I was really happy that I stepped out. I even bumped into like a few friends who were getting into tech as well. And, you know, with CourseCareers, they make you like do all the networking where you have to get your LinkedIn, and then you have to like, you know, add all these people and stuff.
Yeah.
And so the Afrotech, that's how I was meeting everybody. I was just going around saying, can I get your LinkedIn? Can we connect? And it was awesome. It was so nice to see so many Black professionals who were in tech, and they were just, it was fun. It was a vibe.
Yeah. No, it was. I'm not gonna
It was a
lie.
vibe.
Like, not even cap. Like, when I was at Afrotech, I was like, yo, it hit me. I said, yo, I've never been to I've been to a lot of conferences in my life. I was like, I've never been to a conference on this level before. Like, it was crazy. I was like, yo, they got Tesla here. They have Meta here. They have Amazon. Like, they had the who's of companies just there, just. And then they had, companies there. Then I've been telling people since last year. I'm like, yo, every company is becoming a tech company. They had companies there that like Gap, like companies that you don't even look at as a tech company, but they're like, oh no, they said a lot of our business is tech related, so we have a huge tech side of our business. And so it was just really dope, really dope being there. And so I was heavily inspired. Even like for the events that my team and I we're gonna do, like we were heavily inspired by it. And so, but yeah, next time I'm gonna be in the mix. Next time I'm gonna be all up in it, all up in it. All right, super cool. But yeah, I agree with what she said. Yeah, the companies, they don't really care too much about. Yeah,
they don't care.
Yeah. Super dope. So we'll try to. All right, someone asked, this would be like a quick throwaway. Someone asked, what affordable, you asked for a tech sales bootcamp for someone outside of the US. So CourseCareers and Careers, I had a meeting recently with Careers, y'all. I've had a couple meetings with them and one of their founders. We've been talking about some stuff, asking them to kind of, seeing what's going on with them. And, but no, they're starting to expand their market outside of the US. Now, I'm not going to jump the boat and say, yeah, if you're outside of the U.S., definitely go ahead and do them. But I know from what they've shared with me that they are expanding their market outside of the U.S. It's not really about the boot camp. If the boot camp allows you to do the boot camp, that's cool. It's really about companies that are hiring you if you don't live in the U.S. Because the reason why some tech companies don't want to hire someone that's outside of let's not say the US, but the Americas, is because most of them work with time zones. Like how she mentioned that they have her, and you said like the Georgia market or something.
Yeah.
Like usually that means like they have her working East Coast time zone, which means that there are customers and prospects that are Pacific or Central time zone, so think LA or Texas. And so there are customers that might not be able to have a meeting until the time she's clocked out, or customers that have a meeting before she's clocked in. So usually the companies will want to hire people based on the market of their customers in the time zone. I was going to say fortunately, unfortunately, but I don't really know how to describe it. But most tech companies are here in the US for now. Most of them are. And most companies focus on growing their market in the US first before they expand outside of the US. But usually their customer base is, even with the larger tech companies, most of their customers are here in the US. So that's why living overseas is not really the boot camps as much as it's the tech companies. So you can do most of the boot camps, like General Assembly, one of the boot camps that I recommend and I offer discounts through. They are an international boot camp. You can do General Assembly from anywhere in the world. But just keep in mind that you're limited in the amount of companies that you're able to apply and be able to be a worthy candidate to work at. Now, mind you, there are thousands of companies you could still apply to and work at, but there are hundreds of thousands of tech companies out there, and you might only be able to apply to work at a few thousand of them, which is still good, still works out, but really it's up to you. Any other comments that you had on that before we move to the next
one? No, I do not. Oh, I do want to say this though. I did realize that there were a lot of people who were going over to Mexico because Mexico's on our time zone.
Yes.
And so yeah,
the cost of living.
The cost of living is low, but we're still on the same time zone, so nobody knows that you are out of town, do whatever you want with that information.
Yes. Now, listen, y'all, that is a hack. That's actually
Yeah.
dope that you brought that up. That's a hack. I have a lot of friends who have, they've moved to Mexico. They moved to certain countries where the cost of, because think about it. If you're making, let's say, okay, you're making $150,000 here in the U.S. and you move to somewhere like Mexico.
So rich in Mexico.
Where now
like,
it's
I'm
like
looking at places and it's like people are paying, like people who are local, they are paying like $500 a month for their rents in Mexico, and they're making U.S. salary.
But again, y'all, because when y'all understand, when you're working remote, you could move, especially if, like she mentioned, if you stay in that time zone. Yeah, somebody said I got a boy who's living in the DR. Yes, I almost moved to Puerto Rico. I was like this close to moving to Puerto Rico, y'all. I was like, I'm gonna move to Puerto Rico.
I said, look, this is my last time doing a winter here in Atlanta because I can't do more winter. I don't like all the jackets and clothes and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, why not just live at the beach if we have this life like this, you know? Like, why go on vacation when you can just live there?
You imagine living at a vacation spot, but because you're working remote in tech, you're making now, like, your income is like 3 or 4 times more now in relation to where you're living. So not only are you living the life, working remote,
your quality
you're now living like the king. Yep. You're living like royalty. Yep. You're so rich, like it's crazy.
I love it.
Oh man, it's dope. I mean, the possibilities are incredible. All right, cool. So I'm gonna not skip past this one. Someone asked, best way to get into product manager, not to be mistaken with project manager. So there's a few different ways. Either one, you can have transferable skills, or 2, General Assembly, one of the boot camps. General Assembly is actually I think they're the top ranked boot camp in the world. And so we were happy to like be able to partner with them to where they able to basically offer our audience a discount, $200 off with their boot camp. They have a product manager course with General Assembly. So yeah. So, but aside from that, if you have, transferable skills, you're networking at tech events, all of that stuff, you still will be like good options for you to get in as well. But if somebody wants to do a boot camp, you want to get more concise training, then definitely recommend General Assembly. If you want a discount, hit the link in my bio, all that dope stuff. All right, next question. I'll probably answer that one last before we, because I really want to get to like your story. I know we touched on a little bit, but I really want to get to it. All right. Someone asked, would I be able to get into tech without a high school diploma or college degree? Yes. My short answer is yes. I've had people here on the live. So I don't have a college degree. Oh, I guess high school diploma. I can't say I've interviewed people that don't have a high school diploma, but same thing. Like if your resume, tech companies aren't look like if you have a resume, like I don't have my high school in my resume. Like you don't have to have your high school in your resume. Like no one really is looking for your high school resume. They're either looking for college, or if you don't have college, they're like whatever. They're just looking for your work history. So most of these companies aren't doing background check to see if you have a diploma. They'll do a background check to see if you don't have like a crazy criminal record. But yes, you can without a diploma or college.
A good thing is that when people do not have college on their resume, they usually have more experience because they were working during that time.
1 second. Oh, you can keep going. I wasn't trying to stop you.
Oh no, that's all. That's all. I guess I'm here by myself. Who has questions? Let me see what's in the little say.
My bad for leaving you hanging.
No, that's all right.
Oh no, you said what?
So you went to go get a refill?
Can I get a refill? Let me stop. Oh, you can answer this question perfectly. All right. So, did you get any pushback for not having a college degree for a sales engineering role?
Me, I have a college degree. I have a master's. I actually tried to put it on the resume, actually, because I didn't want them to think that I needed this really large salary just to start.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
So you said you didn't put it on your resume, or you almost didn't put it on your resume?
So whenever I was doing my application process, I had a few different resumes. So depending on the job, I would send that particular resume out. And there were some jobs that I just took the master's degree off because I didn't want them to think that I was overqualified or that I was going to ask for some like high salary, because I'm really just trying to break into tech. So I was really just trying to finesse it and get into tech however I can, you know, so.
Yeah. Now, y'all, I can tell y'all there's never been one company I've ever interviewed for that said, oh, well, you didn't go to college, you don't have a degree. And I've interviewed with a crap ton of tech companies. I've never had one tech company bring that up. I've had companies where they mentioned things that was a requirement, where when I brought it up, they said, oh, we actually don't really care about that. We don't even know why they put that as a requirement.
Yep.
Type of thing. So yeah, no pushback for not having a college degree. That's not a thing.
They don't care. It doesn't matter anyway. It's just piece of paper. And they never ask. I mean, come on, like you go to school all those years, get a master's degree, and then nobody asks you. Like,
man,
I know people
that junk is crazy.
Resume. How they know I'm just not putting it on my resume? I mean, you know, I'm just putting it on my resume, and I could be lying because they never ask.
Man, look, I'm gonna keep it a super stack with y'all. Before I did a boot camp a long time ago, when my first time trying to get in tech, before I even knew what tech was, I was applying to some tech companies. And I just knew that there were companies that I had some friends that were telling me about them. And I was like, oh, these companies pay a ridiculous amount of money. So I was applying to them. I was so down. This is when this is part of my story or testimony where I was just at my lowest of lowest. And I was like lying on my resume that I had a degree. And when I tell y'all, I didn't even get an interview. And then later on, when I was Lyft driving and all of that, and I was doing a little bit better, obviously I wasn't balling, I was a Lyft driver, but I was doing a little bit better. I was like, I just did the boot camp. I legit had on there what was legit. I obviously took the college thing off that I didn't actually do. And I was getting buku interviews and obviously got a job in tech. So yeah, no, it's not a necessity at all.
You don't have to lie on your resume. You can put, if you were a bartender, you can word that certain ways to make it look like you're good at customer service. Or
that's what it's about.
Yeah, you do not have to lie about anything on your resume.
Yeah, I had a one-on-one with a young dude yesterday, and he actually has a decent work history background, but he kept like thinking like, he kept like kind of doubting himself on everything. And I told him, I was like, well, bro, like your work history is more extensive than mine is. I was like, but really what it's about is how well you can communicate whatever it is you've done. Because I told, literally one of the things that got me the job, I told them aside from the boot camp, they were like, okay, well, we're looking at your work history. We see you were a poet. Like, how does that relate to you being a sales engineer? And I communicated it. I said, well, as a sales engineer, you know, you have to tailor the demo to the prospect using the information that's given. And you come on screen, you come on camera, you have to make sure that you're communicating to the prospect very well what your product is. And it's meant to connect with them in a way that has them realize, man, this is the product for me. And it wants them to go into a relationship with your company, which is a contract, and then purchase the product. And I said, it's the same thing with I said, as a poet, I said, I got booked for poetry events. Mm-hmm. It was my job to do discovery, learn what the event was about, learn what they wanted me to make the poem about. I would tailor the poem to the event. I had to get on stage in front of a crowd of people I didn't know, just like when you do a demo, you're on a virtual stage with people that you don't know. And I had to not just perform the poem, but I had to be confident And even if there were hecklers in our audience or interruptions, just like as a sales engineer, you'll get interruptions, you'll get questions. You have to not allow it to rattle you and for you to continue to be able to perform well. So it was literally me speaking to how being a poet has trained me and conditioned me for being prepared to be a sales engineer. And I had other friends in other industries that had nothing to do with poetry that they communicated similar what they learned. So it's really about how well you communicate your background, your history to the role that it is that you're talking to in this industry.
That's true. Yep.
Someone asked you get QA automation testers to interview and inspire us who are pushing that. I actually, if you go to my YouTube, we recently posted a video, an interview that I did with someone who's in QA. So check out the YouTube video. It's with a dude named Olivier Online. Carl Duperval, shouts out to the homie. But that's on the YouTube now. It recently got posted in the past week. So go to the YouTube, go to videos on the YouTube channel, and you'll like see us interviewing a young black dude with glasses, with more circular glasses than these, because these aren't prescription. His glasses are prescription. All right. Okay, so this is a more curiosity question. This will be good. All right, so how do you think, maybe more theoretical than curiosity, how do you think AI can best be used for nightlife or the hospitality industry?
Ooh, good question. You know what? The first thing that comes to mind for me is like, I believe that there's going to be a point in time where people start using AI for dating.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. If they're not already doing that, maybe they will. Maybe they'll do something cool, like add everybody's like astrology and numbers, and then AI will calculate it and tell you who you're most likely to be with or something like that. And then you can meet them at the club.
I mean, it already does a version of that. Not necessarily like, I mean, think about Tinder, how Tinder will say, oh, this person's a super match. How does it do that? It literally scans your profile, scans what your interests are. It does an algorithm to determine what people in your city and region are the best fit for you. So we're already seeing versions of that already on certain dating apps. So yeah, no, we're not far from that at all whatsoever. Let me see. AI can best be used for nightlife. So a few things, nightlife and hospitality. So a few things. One, if you're a person who frequents a restaurant or a bar or a club, whatever type of club you want to go to, no judgment. It could be an AI that scans everybody that walks in, and let's say you're someone who's came in there before and they know what drink you've gotten. As soon as you walk in, they could scan you through the door, and they could determine and say, hey, this person got this drink last time. So when the waitress or waiter walks up, they can suggest a certain drink to the person. So where instead of the person having to think through what they want, they could just be like, yeah, go ahead and get me that. So that's one thing. And I'm literally coming up with this on the fly right now. So all of these answers are always on the fly. I don't ever prep for like these answers. I try to let everything be like organic and just kind of flow. So that's one thing. Another thing, so that's for the customer. For the business owner of the club, actually the company that I work for, that I'm the chief marketing officer for, it's called Validify. We have a product that does background identification and financial verification. So one of the number one threats to any type of club, bar, restaurant, hotel, real estate is chargebacks. If you ever go to like either a high-end like luxury clothing store, or you go to a certain bar or place where you spend a certain amount of money, they will ask for your ID and your card so that they can take a picture of both of them together. The reason why they're doing that is to verify to your bank, hey, I have their ID and their credit card. This is the person that made this purchase. The reason why they do that is because their number one threat are chargebacks, because buku people will spend $1,000, they'll swipe their card for $1,000+, leave, call their bank the next day and say, whoa, that wasn't me. My card was stolen, my ID was stolen, whatever. And so a lot of these restaurants and bars don't have a fail-safe way to fix that. But the company that I'm with, Validify, we actually have AI software where it does fix that. I'm not going to go into how. If anybody's interested, you can, hit me up or hit up the validify.io page, and we'll help you with that. But so one, I want to speak to AI software that can help the customer. Maybe it'll scan them, and instead of it being a drink, maybe it's the food that they ordered last time. It can recommend that. Or it could recommend something different, whatever. And the AI is so accurate now that AI can scan someone and tell if they had a good experience or not. So maybe the AI can scan someone at a restaurant or bar, and it can determine based on their facial expression, their body language, their posture, that, hey, this person didn't enjoy their food or their drink. So maybe the waiter or waitress can come over and cheer them up by saying, hey, like, would you like to try something else? Or can I offer you another drink just on the house, just to give them a better experience? There's a plethora of things AI can do. Yo, so for everybody who's listening right now, and you're thinking, man, I really want to do what Cyrus Guest is doing to be in tech. Or maybe you've been thinking for a minute, man, I want to be a sales engineer like Cyrus. What can I do to become a sales engineer? Well, I actually want to recommend to you CourseCareers Bootcamp, which isn't just a bootcamp that I've done and many of my friends and family members have done to break into tech, but they also offer a variety of other roles aside from sales engineering. That being roles like different types of tech sales jobs, including SDR, BDR, account executive, but also something that's in really high demand right now, QA automation, as well as QA tester. Y'all, CourseCareers Bootcamp, aside from these variety of courses, they have an amazing program that assists you with helping you get a job in tech. With their program, they have two different versions of it. One of it actually aggregates different jobs and companies that are hiring specifically for the role that you did within their course. And that way you're able to just synchronize and go through and apply to each of those roles yourselves. But also they have an automated version of that also within their JAS program, or JAS, Job Application Service Program. The reason why I made a separate video to talk about them is because they made a lot of updates in their program, including hiring a crap ton of more mentors and coaches to be able to assist their graduates with being able to get a job, being able to interview better, essentially giving them all of the tools that they need to be able to break into this dope industry. Apart from that, they've also made some adjustments and tweaks within their classes and courses, providing more assistance, having more instructors, ultimately being able to service each of their students better. CourseCareers actually allows our audience to get a $300 discount on top of every sale they have going on. So if you go to their site right now and they have a sale going on, if you use our link, you will still get a $300 discount on top of any sale that they have going on all the time. Listen, y'all, I definitely recommend you check them out. And please let us know if you do CourseCareers and when they help you break into tech too.
I was thinking about how I saw this movie, and it was about AI, and it was showing people who were like, if their attitude changes, or if they were angry, or if they were going to kill somebody, AI would be able to tell call the police ahead of time.
Oh yeah, it was called it was with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
It was with Tom Cruise.
But that's neat.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like predictive programming a little bit.
Yeah. And predictive programming is really a thing.
No,
it's real. I'm gonna be real. AI really doesn't know us better than we know ourselves. It's really scary how well it knows us. I've read a book called Dataclysm. And I was still live driving. I literally was listening to it on Audible. And the founder of the person who wrote the book of Dataclysm is the founder of OkCupid, the second most popular dating site. And they were talking about how, based on data that they scraped off of OkCupid, it revealed a lot of scary things about us as people, a lot of sad things about us as people, in terms of like how racist we all are, how it has data on what men like when it comes to women that most men are afraid to admit. It has data on what women like that women try to pretend like they don't really like and don't really care for. But the AI literally is able to determine and say, nope, y'all are actually like this as human beings. And women actually like this, men actually like this. It talks about what men at 50 want versus what women at 50 want. And it's all AI that's able to scrape billions of people, and based off of the consensus across billions of people. It even talks about how, when we do surveys and stuff, it breaks down how when we do surveys, most of us aren't honest when we do a survey, even to ourselves. Like, we will check something and say, yeah, I'm down for this cause. But AI can actually watch all of how we do things on social media and everything else, and they can determine algorithmically, no, actually you aren't down for that cause. You just want to lie to yourself and say you are because it makes you feel better about yourself to say that you're down for that. And so it's like, it's really wild how AI really knows us better than we know ourselves. It's really crazy. I saw someone say earlier that AI could also, for the date night question or nightlife hospitality, that it can provide like questions for you to ask the person. I actually think that's really dope. That would be dope if, you know how you go to a restaurant or, well, I guess as a guy, whenever I make reservations for myself and a woman, how they ask, hey, what is this, the anniversary? Is it date night? Like, why are you making this reservation? And it would be cool if someone puts on there, oh, it's a date night. And then let's say, let's say you get to the table and maybe the table is a touch screen. Where the table is able to prompt questions for you to ask the person you're on a date with. So you can literally be like, that would be so freaking crazy.
Like the dating games and like that kind of stuff.
All of that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, or if it's an anniversary, like, oh, it's an anniversary. It could be, okay, cool. Then it could be questions about y'all, like about your history. Like, oh, what's your favorite memory that we've had? Like, you know, whatever. Or if it's like just a friend, so, oh no, you check the box, say, oh no, I'm just hanging out with friends. How many are gonna be at a party? Oh, it's gonna be 6 of us. Okay, cool. So then it knows to like put six different sections on the table to like ask all y'all questions or play a game or something. That would be really fire. Woo! We need to take this live down so we can start a business. Like
that would force people to be honest. maybe honesty would be a trend because of AI.
Yeah. No, that actually, somebody said less human interaction. No, that would be more human interaction. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because think about how many times you've been out and everybody was on their phone versus when you're able to go out and have drinks and there's a game on the table that's AI where you're able to press. That would literally cause y'all to interact more. Yeah. So that would be dope. Yeah, engaged. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, we definitely got to take this live down. Hold up now. Might be on to something. Might be on to something. All right, super cool. Last question I'm gonna address, and we'll get into your story and everything. So, because you didn't do careers, right? You were about to do careers, but you realized that CourseCareers did what it needed to do. It hooked you up.
No, I did CourseCareers because I had to make sure that all the stuff you were saying was.
You want to say it was legit?
Yeah. So I did CourseCareers because that was cheap, and I was like, I can do that, and I, just like an investment. But as soon as I finished, I started applying for jobs. Like I applied for like 10 each day, just until I got something. I was doing all these interviews, and my goal was to, as soon as I get the other job, because CourseCareers was good. So I was like, oh, okay, it was legit. So my goal was to, as soon as I get the other job, use that job to go to CourseCareers because it was more expensive.
Yeah.
And so
I remember you told me that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that so much because I always tell people, I really don't care. Like my thing isn't necessarily to convince people. My thing is like just to tell people what's up. But it's like I 100% get people being skeptical. It's like you should be skeptical. Like straight up.
I told stuff all the time. Like especially for me, like I'm always trying to do this. I've done pyramid schemes. I've done susus when those were out. Like people can literally convince me to do almost anything. And I'm just like, and I was like over it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try one more thing. And then it was legit. So thank you for
especially on social media. Especially on social media, it's a lot of stuff to get put. And that's why I don't even really like it. When I first it was almost a year. It was late January of last year, early February when I first started talking about this stuff on my page. And it was like, there were definitely a lot of people that were really skeptical at first, where people were like, nah. A lot of people were skeptical because I didn't seem rich. Because when I was saying, oh, I got a job, I'm making $90,000. In people's minds, they're thinking like, no, you don't seem rich. And it's like, well, I mean, $90,000 ain't really like what I'm supposed to do with that? I'm supposed to just, you know, I think people were expecting me the way I'm living now and the type of stuff I wear now and buy now. People were expecting me to do this stuff when I was making $90,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're living like that at $90,000, you are you're living like paycheck. You might be in debt. Like
Yeah.
it's like $90,000 is really, really good money. But that's not the type of money to be like you living in a high rise downtown and you doing it's
But
like
people don't know
like,
that though.
yeah.
And like I have friends that are millionaires and you can't tell the difference between how much they make and how much I make, you know? So
yeah.
I think it's all like subjective. But people expect for you to just be looking flashy if you make a lot of money.
Yeah. No, that's real. Like with the podcast, and this is the first time I guess I'll share this online and stuff. Between the podcast and my job and everything else, I'm on track to do about like 2 million this year. And it's like, even with that, even though I'm not going to try to like downplay it, but it's not a lot of money. It's like, realistically, it's like, yo, it's like, when I signed up for my Amex card for like a Delta Amex card, and I had to put on there how much I make annually, and I stood back, and I was like, well, dang, based on how things have been going the last like 5 months, I put 1.5 million on there, and it felt so weird to put that. I was like, yo, this is weird, and because it's like, I'm like, that's legit, like. That's how much, if I'm consistent with how things have been going, I'm like, I'm a millionaire. And I'm like, but it's so weird because it's like, it doesn't really feel like it. Yeah. And so, yeah, and I think, mind you, being a low entry level millionaire now versus 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago is a totally different thing. Totally different thing the way.
But that's so amazing. That's still so amazing. From being, you know, a Uber, did you say Uber or Lyft driver?
Yeah, Lyft
a year later or 2 years later, being a millionaire.
A year and a half later. Yeah. I went from like, I was happy if I grossed a $5,000 a month Lyft driving, because keep in mind, you got to pay for gas, the wear and tear on the car, new tires, all of that. But it's like, I was happy if I grossed $5,000. I'm gonna be, man, look, I'm gonna blame it on a drink, because I try not to be too open on my page, but I'm gonna be real with y'all. I actually now hyperventilate if I have less than $100,000 that I make that month. So if I have a month, like I think December, my business, like the podcast, and my income total, I think it only hit like $87,000 that month. And I almost went into a depression. And it wasn't because I needed the money. It was just because I was like, I made over $100,000 the last few months. Why did I make less this month? And it like really messed with my head. And so it's like, yeah, but anyway, like and I said to a lot of people, a lot of guys that I talk to, I'm like, yo, like, make sure that your happiness doesn't, like, money makes you happier, but it has it's called a law of diminishing returns. Eventually you hit a point where, and depending on the person, that point could be 100,000, or that point could be $250,000. But you eventually hit a point, like, I'm gonna be very real with y'all, and I think about this a lot now. I'm like, man, I could win the lottery for $100 million and it wouldn't make me happier. I would be like, oh, that's dope. I wouldn't turn it down. I'd be like, oh, that's dope. And I would figure out how my team and I could use that money to help more people get in tech, to invest in certain communities, to do dope stuff. But like, emotionally, for me, getting that money, it wouldn't mean more. It's like you eventually hit a point where it's like your true happiness and joy has to come out through something else. It has to come through other means.
It has to come from you first.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Like, straight up. It really does. And so somebody said, what you drinking? Because they like, nah, you drinking something to be talking like that. But no, I'm telling you, it's the real deal. Like, I know, I look at a lot of rappers and other people, and I'm like, man, y'all are faking to like act like because you make this much money, like you just better than other people. It's like a lot of it's silly, like, at the end of the day. But yeah, still make more money.
Because they're in the spotlight, so it's part of their job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And mind you, I'm not saying I'm sad. I'm way happier. I've never been happier in my life than I've been. But it's like one of those things where it's like you reach a point where it's like, because naturally as human beings, we want to excel in our happiness. We want happiness to grow. We want to be happier and happier. We're never like, oh, I'm good and I want to stay here. It's like, no, we always want to excel and we want more. But you realize like the more really comes from when you're doing things for others, you're doing things for your family. You're really like, it has to be more than just money. So get the money, but then at some point you're like, okay, it has to be more than just the money. It has to be something else as well. You know, whether it's giving back, whether it's, you know, you spending more time with your family, whether you're vacationing more, whatever that might be, it has to be something more than just the money.
For sure.
Yeah, but without the money, I don't know how anybody can have without the money. I say that much though. But yeah, but someone asked. I'm gonna not spend too much time on this because I kind of addressed this already. Then we're gonna go ahead and jump into. We're like way over time. My apologies. But someone asked, can you address objections with CourseCareers again? So CourseCareers is the bootcamp that I did, the bootcamp that you almost did. So
you keep on saying I did it.
You said what?
I said you keep on saying I almost did it. I did it.
Wait, you did CourseCareers?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that.
I did CourseCareers first.
Yeah.
And then I did CourseCareers once I got my job. So like I literally just graduated. Like I started in the January 9th class. Was it January 9th? Yeah, January 9th class. So I graduated like yesterday. Like literally.
When did you get your job?
I've been had my job. So after I finished CourseCareers, that's whenever I started applying. I got the job in December.
So why did you do a sales engineering bootcamp if you got hired for a sales engineering role?
Because at first I didn't know that I was going to be a sales engineer. Remember, I was applying to be an SDR. So, but I had already wanted to do CourseCareers. So I signed up, but I didn't get a chance to like complete the classes because I ended up getting the job. So now I just finished it and I just went on and did it. It was, they had like a sale. I don't know if it was around Black Friday or something like that. And they had like 60, 70% off. So I just went on and like did it. Yeah. It was like $2,000 when I did it.
2,000, 67%.
It was like,
did you get the $300 discount on top of it?
I used all the discounts, every single one. And I called them and I asked them for whatever else they had.
You wasn't playing. You said, what else y'all got?
Yeah.
What else y'all got? I want
all of it. Yeah, I was calling them. I was asking them like, what else y'all got? What other discounts can I get?
Yo, I'm here for it. I'm super here for it.
It was like 2,500 or 2,300. I don't know what it was, but they even have like payment plans and stuff, and it's like $10 a month. Like I was finding out all that stuff. So I want to go to
you one of those bargain shoppers. You don't play. You like, nah, what coupons can I get? You be cutting the coupons out. You ain't playing. You ain't playing. Yo, your husband, your husband's gonna appreciate that. You be like, no, we can get a deal, baby. We ain't gotta pay full price.
I want everything, but I don't want to spend out on it.
That's funny. I love it. I love it. Yo, that being said, so let's go ahead and jump into it. So we've already talked about a little bit of your story so far.
Yeah.
You saw me online flapping my gums about tech stuff. I don't know why I thought that we knew each other, like on social media knew each other before I was in tech, but maybe I'm tripping. But anyway, so you saw me online flapping my gums about tech, and you were like, it sounds good, not really sure. So let me do the more affordable boot camp that he recommends. Like he uses discount, so that way it's only $450. And then after you did it, you were like, at some point you're like, okay, no, this is legit. And then you're like, okay, I'll go ahead and do the more expensive one now, the one that he did. Yep. And then in that process, you ended up getting the type of job that you wanted to get through that second one before you even like really finished it.
Yeah. So basically I was doing CourseCareers, and then, CourseCareers, they tell you to start applying if you want to right away. And so while I was doing CourseCareers, before I even did the exam, I was already applying every single day. I was already doing interviews. It only took me, I think it took me like 3 or 4 weeks to finish CourseCareers, because I was like really working on it like all day. And then once I finished, I think I had gotten my job, and it took me, I want to say like a month to get my job. I don't know. And then like a month and a little bit. Yeah. And then once I got the job, I didn't know that I was going to be a sales engineer. So I had already signed up for Careerist.
Okay, cool. So, so you've been at the company now. When did you start at your company?
Started in December.
Okay. So around like when in December?
The beginning of December. It was like around like December, maybe like 6th.
Okay, cool. So December 6th.
Yeah, it was like December 6th or something.
So you're a little over 2 months in yet. Have you,
Yeah.
and I just out of curiosity, have you, wait, so when did you realize it was a sales engineering role? You started December 6th.
Whenever they start having me do demos, and my managers told me, she said, you need to put sales engineer on your business cards.
And you were like, well, why?
And I was like, but I applied for the SDR job. Like, and she was like, no, we're going to have Will as our intern. She was like, no, we're going to have Will do that. And you're going to be a sales engineer because I really need help with these demos. And she decided she didn't want to be like the face of the stuff anymore. Yeah. So she was like, I'm going to let you do it. I feel like you'll be good with the people. She was like, so she just, yeah.
Did they know that you wanted to be a sales engineer?
They didn't. I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to wait till I had my foot in the door, and then I was going to start, trying to work my way up. But, the way my head works.
Fire. That's crazy. Wow. That's an incredible story. All right, cool. So you've hinted at a few things with your company already. My suggestion, I mean, it's up to you. My suggestion, I typically don't like my guests to say what company they work for, because there are times where some people will all flood it. And I've had people with myself and with guests lie and say, oh, I was recommended by this person, type of thing. It can get really weird. You know how it is on social media. It can get really weird. But that being said, so you've already mentioned, so you kind of touched on this a little bit with some of the benefits and perks. So you have a company that offers unlimited paid time off, right? Mm-hmm. That's fire.
Unlimited.
Have you used any of it yet?
Not yet. I am going to use it though, but I don't really need to. I don't really need to yet, because the place that I'm going to be going to the most, like I'm going to move to Mexico for a few months. And so I doubt that I'll need to use my PTO yet. But I also know that they don't really want people using it all, they don't want you to use it the way.
They don't want you to abuse it. Yeah, they don't want you to abuse it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unlimited PTO is a little bit of a psychology trick where it's like, they're like, because it's proven like statistically that employees that have unlimited PTO end up taking off less time than they would have taken off had they had a 2-week vacation.
For sure.
And so it's kind of a thing that, but I mean, if you end up taking 3 weeks off in a year or 4 weeks, they can't really say that. If you spread that jackass, like, they can't say that type of thing. As long as you're doing your job, you're being resourceful, all of that, when you are there, then it's like, it is what it is. Just don't play yourself. Don't play yourself. Actually use it. All right, super cool. So unlimited PTO, you started a job. So it's been it's a little over 2 months now since you've been there. Have you started demoing yet? Yes,
I did. I've done 2 demos, and then I'm like studying for like a bigger one. And they were kind of like proctored with the supervisor lady that usually does it, I guess.
Yeah.
So she was in on the demo with me. So I did like the front end stuff, and she did like the back end.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, she just threw me right in there. She was like, well, how else are you going to learn? I'm going to just throw you in.
Yeah.
But she told me, for a week we studied, what I needed to go over with these particular clients. And like you said, every client is different. So it's going to be customized. Mm-hmm. So, we went over the kind of customizations, and I collaborated with the sales team, and then I did my demo. I was nervous.
So, I see a few people asking the question. Usually we'll wait to the end to answer these questions. But I think there's some pretty apropos questions. So when they asked you to come on, they didn't, before they switched the role to sales engineer, the role, I know you mentioned that the title at first was like a sales representative.
Yep.
But was that like more of a was that more of a account executive, or was that more of, so I'll tell y'all this, usually sales representative is synonymous with account executive, because sometimes we call account executives sales reps, and account executives are paid on par with sales engineers, generally speaking. But that being said, it's kind of hard to answer this question since the initial title wasn't SDR, BDR, or account executive, it was sales representative. But in your opinion, would you say that what they're paying you or projected to pay you, because since you just started demoing, you probably haven't gotten your commission check yet, because you do get, like, some people don't know, as a sales engineer, you get a high base pay, and as account executive too, you get a high base pay, and then you get like a really good commission check, the second check of the month after that. But that being said, in your opinion, do you feel that what you're getting paid is on par as a sales engineer? Like, basically, are you getting paid, do you feel like an SDR, BDR, or more of a sales engineer?
No, it's more like, maybe it's like a SDR, BDR. And I'll just tell you, so they started me out at 75. And I think that the reason that they did that, and maybe that's the reason why they advertised it as an SDR, and then whenever I got in there, they switched it to sales engineer, because they started me off at 75. I negotiated. I got 85, and then they have OTE. And so the OTE,
so that's your base.
Yeah. So that's my base. And then the OTE, the first year I only get $10,000 commission. After that first year, then I start making like whatever commission it doesn't cap.
Okay, so first year you're at a $95,000 OTE.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more than what I got in my first tech company.
Really?
Yes, like my OTE was 90,000. My base was 72,000. So your base is almost touching what my OTE was in my first company.
Well, I asked for it. Well, I heard you something like you had made 85 or 90 or something like that. So like I went in and I was asking for that, because at first they were starting pretty low, and I was like, no, I think that I can get more. I'm just gonna ask. And I kept asking, and they would go back and revise it, and then they would come back. And I was really scared, like thinking, like, are they just gonna be like, no, we'll just go with somebody else, you know?
No, they wouldn't do that. And I mean, obviously, like, I have a lot of, even the interview, the interview that dropped this week on the Tech is the New Black podcast, we had a guest where he was saying how he regretted not asking for $100,000 for a bonus, like for a sign-on bonus.
Oh,
he was like, he said, I should have asked for $100,000. He said I asked for 50,000. They gave me 50,000 as a sign-on bonus. And he was saying how, he said, if you ask for 100,000, he's like, they're not gonna say no, and we're not gonna hire you now. He's like, they'll just say what they can do. They'll say, oh, we can do this much instead. Because he was saying, and he said it, all my high up friends have said it, they've been in the industry a long time. They're like, if you ask for something and their answer is yes, that means you didn't ask for enough. You need to ask for something. And he literally says, you could go watch the video. You could just watch the first 30 seconds, because it's like the kind of highlight reel at the beginning of the video before the interview starts, where he says like, yo, he said, you need to ask for something that sounds so ridiculous that it's like they have to say no, but because it's so ridiculous, they're not gonna drop the number down. They're gonna be like, no, we gotta give you something that's close to it. Like, it can't be too far from that. Because when they decide, like, because when the hiring manager, the recruiter, everybody decides unanimously, we want to hire this person, at that point, they don't want to hit it. They don't want to go back and hit another person up and say, oh, we turned you down, but instead they don't want to do that, because they want to get the person that they said is the best person. So once they tell you they want you, that's them saying unanimously, we all agree we want this person. They don't want to have to set up another meeting with everybody and everybody have to talk about, well, they want this much. I don't really know. Should we? It's not that deep. If they have it, they'll talk to HR. If HR says, yeah, we have it in the budget, they'll say, bet, we'll do it. If HR says we don't have that in the budget, then they will see what HR has in the budget, and then they'll come back and say, look, we can do this much, like straight up. And so, because it's not their money. So it's like at the end of the day, they want to hire you, and whatever the company has in the budget to do, they're gonna do it because they don't really care. They're like, yo, we want you. Whatever, how much money you want? Okay, I'm gonna check. If we got in the budget, boom, you got it, type of thing. So yeah, but I love it. I'm happy that, because that's something I negotiated with my first company, and I think I asked for 100,000. I gave pushback for 100,000, but I low key was a bit of a punk because they came back and said we can do 100,000, but they said we would have to wait until next month. They said because like we've exhausted our budget for this quarter. They said so our budget has us at only 90,000. They said, but if you can come on next month, we can. If you could wait a month, we can bring you on at 100,000. And I'm not gonna lie,
you were like,
I was like, oh, bro, just hire me.
Yeah.
Just hire me. I'm tired of being broke. Just go ahead.
I mean, I usually kind of like lie a little bit. I just say like, oh, at my current job, I'm making 85, so I want to stay there.
Yeah.
Whenever they ask, because I don't like, I guess like the imposter syndrome, kind of kicks in, and it makes you like, and I read this stuff where they were saying like white men tend to ask for about 40,000 more than Black people do and stuff, and so I tried to be, I tried to ask what else, but I would have never known if you wouldn't have like told, your story. I would have never known what to ask for, really.
That's fire. I'm happy for that. And perfect timing that you said that. Recruiter cousin just commented. She's I'm not gonna say what she's a tech recruiter in big tech, and she was a guest on the podcast. She was one of our first guests, and she shared how she noticed that certain people in tech, and she said definitely white people, she said they ask for what they ask for. Yeah. She said they, and I'm paraphrasing, but she said she's seen they ask for things, and the answer from what she shared on the podcast is never just no. It's either, okay, cool, can you speak to why you want that much? And if they can communicate why, then it's a yes. Or if the number is so high that the company doesn't have it in the budget, then they'll come back with, hey, this is what we can do. But it'll usually be more than what they initially offer. Yeah. So yeah, y'all, what she's saying, what Aaron just shared is legit, where it's like, yeah, like there are other
we gotta our counterpart, and you gotta ask for more, and you gotta be confident about it, because there's people asking for so much and they're getting it. Yeah.
Yeah, but also like Shanae, who's recruiter cousin, shared, if you ask for an outrageous number, you better be prepared to speak to why you feel you deserve it. So don't be like, oh, I want 170,000 entry level. And like, what? Like, okay, cool. All right, why do you want that? Like, what's up? Like, don't just be like, well, because I want to flex on my ops and my haters and stuff. Well, don't be like,
but as a salesperson, I think that it would do you some good to ask for more, because I mean, you're supposed to be in sales, so you're supposed to like upsell, and that's going to show that you have the skills to be able to do that job as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely sure there's a lot of truth to that. That's Shanae in the comments said, she said, yep, it has to make sense. But yeah, her as a tech recruiter, y'all, in big tech, she says like, don't play yourself. Like ask for something. Because at that point, they determine that they want you. And so if they want you and they're like, yeah, we want you, it's like you can, at that point, you can negotiate. That's where the negotiation table opens up. And it's not gonna be okay, we're not gonna hire you, we're gonna hire this other person now. Because at that point they determine they want to hire you. All right, so Shanae says, and the numbers will look different. So if the money doesn't show up in your base salary, it may show up somewhere else. Sign on, stock, additional bonuses, equity. Exactly. So yeah, look at the total comp. She talked about that during the podcast. That we have to know. She talked about that when she came to the podcast in the Sky, the event we had, where she said like we have to make sure we're not getting so caught up, and our community can do this. where we become caught up in just the salary, that we ignore the pieces she mentioned, the sign-on bonus, the stock options, the other bonuses, the equity in the company. People become millionaires off of these other things, but they miss out on a company that is only paying them X amount of dollars in salary. But it's like, yo, if you look at your equity and everything else, you're about to be ridiculously rich. And that's another thing our community misses out on. That's one of the things we miss out on when it comes to, like, sometimes in tech sales or sales engineering, people will say things like, oh, I got to do commission, what? I got a what? And it's like, bruh, you see, like, what? Do not miss out on this money in this industry. All right, super good stuff. So, man, so we could because of the sake of time, man, this is dope. That was such a curveball at the beginning of the conversation, because I'm thinking like, oh, all right, cool, you in tech sales, SDR, BDR, account exec, which that would have been dope. But it's like, oh, such a unique, like, curveball where it's like, oh no, actually I'm a sales engineer type of thing. So I'm like, that's fine.
I was like, what? Because I was like, I'm gonna take careers. I'm gonna do careers while I'm at this job, and then I'm gonna start applying to be a sales engineer. And now I can take my time because I already got a job. But then, whenever I found out that I was a sales engineer, I was like, oh, like I'm gonna get all my experience, here.
I love it. I love it so much for you. Oh man, I gotta make sure. I want to have you come to the next tech event that we have here. When do you leave? Because I'm moving from Georgia in the next month. I'm moving to Miami.
Okay.
And so we both go on the beaches at some point. But I'm gonna, we're probably still gonna have our next tech event here in Atlanta though. So yeah, I definitely want to try to, like, keep in touch to have you, let you come out as an honorary guest. I think that'd be dope.
I would love to. I'll be around. I want to make more tech friends. Everybody in tech is so dope.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, like you mentioned, smart people. A lot of smart people making money.
Yeah.
All right, super cool. So we could jump into these questions that people are asking. So those of y'all that are submitting questions, we're gonna answer. We're gonna stop somewhere around 10 o'clock because she has a life, she has stuff going on, all that good stuff.
Bedtime.
And so, you said what?
I said it's past my bedtime already.
Hey, all right, cool. So we ain't gonna keep on her too long. I've answered the majority of questions that already got submitted earlier, so I'm gonna let her flap her gums more than I've been flapping my gums this time around. So that's already got it asked. All right, we kind of touched on this already, but someone just submitted this. They might have missed it, so I'll let you answer it. Is it possible to work a United States tech job while living in Canada?
I think so. I think that as long as your company is remote and not work from home, because there's a difference. I think that you could work, if you're going to work remote, you can work from anywhere, and as long as you're on the time zone.
Yep, big facts. I can answer this really quickly. Any boot camps you recommend for software development? Yes, there are two. I have a discount for one of the two. The first one that I'll mention that I don't have a discount with them, they're called Flatiron. They are income shared agreement boot camp where it's free until you finish the boot camp, but then they charge you for like 2 to 3 years, where it's called a percentage share. They share a percentage of your salary, of usually roughly up to like 10 or 15% of your salary. But they're still a really great boot camp for people that want to be software developers. I literally had meetings with them. I almost went into a relationship with them, but then I determined that I don't want to partner with a boot camp that does income shared agreement. It's not a bad thing. It's just not. I like people getting in tech, and then their money is their money. They're not forced to pay hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars for the next 2 to 3 years, because I feel like that feels too similar to college for me, where people are in debt, student loan debt. So that's why I chose not to go with them, but they are a good program. But General Assembly is another one. They're one of the most top ranked software engineering boot camps that you can get into. Yeah. So, and yeah, and if anybody wants a discount, hit the link in my bio. I got a discount with them. All right, so next one. Okay, y'all sending a lot of questions now. All right, cool. How much does LinkedIn play a role in success in tech sales, sales engineering, getting a job in tech? What do you think, Aaron?
Good question. I actually got hit up by a lot of recruiters on LinkedIn. When you go to CourseCareers or Careers, they're going to tell you how to set up your LinkedIn page so that you can get some people reaching out. And that really did work for me. But also it worked because I started actually being social. Whenever I knew I was trying to jump into the tech atmosphere from, you know, being a project manager and nobody knowing me nowhere, you know, I went to the tech events and I just like put in some work, trying to network, trying to meet people.
Yes.
And then, you know, connecting with them on LinkedIn. I pay the extra $30 on LinkedIn where you can message recruiters directly and stuff. And so I started doing that, and I just have like a copy and paste, like, you know, wording like, "Hi, my name's Aaron. I'm reaching out about the role that you posted. Could you please point me in the right direction?" I just kind of like messaged them directly, and that worked a lot too. Actually, one of the recruiters that I ended up reaching out to, she was a recruiter over at Google. And that was like the first person I reached out to. So I didn't really have all my stuff together, but I was just like giving it a shot. And he ended up like offering me like a contract, and it was 108. And that was the like very first thing that I had. It was 108K. And I didn't get it because I didn't have my resume together, and like I wasn't able to, like, you know, add some of the stuff that she wanted me to add on there. And, you know, everybody wants to work at Google. So it was like on to the next, you know. But I thought that was cool because I was like, ooh, this is working. And so that gave me the confidence to keep, you know, looking for other jobs and reaching out to other recruiters and stuff.
I love that last piece. I love all of what you said. That last piece where you started to transition, where you said like, yo, one of the things was you actually interacting and engaging on the platform. Because yeah, I've seen a lot of people they'll make a LinkedIn profile and they'll set their stuff up, and then all they'll do is just apply and just reach out to people, and that's it, and not actually engage organically on the platform. And it's like, yo, you have to. I think I've noticed in this past year and some change, I've noticed a direct correlation between people that got hired the fastest and the work that was put in, and versus people where it took them longer and the lack of work that they put in. And so I've seen so many people that like have set up one-on-ones with me that I've talked to, and they're like, oh, it's been 2 months, I haven't gotten a job yet. And I'm like, 2 months ain't really that long to not get a job in tech. That's not that crazy. But I'll talk to them, and I've noticed where it's like, I'll go to their LinkedIn or something, and I'm like, yo, you're not even engaging on here. You just set up a profile. Or I'll see them on Instagram all day long, commenting, interacting. And I'm like, what are you doing? Do you have your job in tech yet? Why are you on Instagram and not on LinkedIn? You're not going to get a job on Instagram. Your butt need to be on LinkedIn. And so even as much as like Instagram was a big thing for me before I got a job in tech, when I was like working to get my job, between the boot camp and me getting my job, I shifted most of my attention to LinkedIn. And so you're not a person. Yeah, it does. It does. It's like, yo, like what? It's still a social media platform. So even if you're a person that you're a junkie for a dopamine hit on social media, which again, that's another conversation. But if you are that person, you know, no shame, no shade. But if you are, you need to put that into LinkedIn, because at least then you're gonna get a good job in tech, making good money to where it matters.
Or you'll make a connection and you'll make a friend. Like I've got all these girls now that I message, and you know that squirrel guy. I know you know him, Malik.
Yeah, Kai. Yeah.
I met him on there, and he's very polite. And I saw how he makes the videos and stuff like that. So I saw some girls that they looked like they were nice and they were in tech, so we would message each other, exchange information. and just kind of like, you know, where are you at in the process, and like, you know, put each other on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place to be at with really great people. Yeah, I was on a triple date with Kai this Saturday. I literally flew in from Miami, came home for 10 minutes, changed, and then rushed to go with him and his wife and other people on a triple date. So it was like really cool. But yeah, they're really good people. Yeah, Kai's he's fire. I ain't gonna go into too much. But he's really good.
He seems like a really good. His energy is really good. He seems like a nice person, and I feel like if you message him on LinkedIn, like he'd be more than happy to. Can I just throw him out there? Like,
yeah, no, throw him out there.
I feel like he'd be more than happy to answer questions because he did that for me, and he doesn't know me.
Yeah, he's very genuine.
Yeah.
He's a very, I'm gonna be real, this is gonna sound bad to some of y'all, but I keep it 1,000. Kai is so genuine. I've had conversations with him about like making sure he's not like burning himself out by like giving himself away too much. So because he's a really good, genuine person. Like
yeah,
he's
so that definitely comes across.
Yeah. No, he's a beautiful person. I love him. Love him and his wife. They're great people. That's so dope. So dope. All right. So yeah, but no, I love that. I love all the stuff you said. I think that's something important for people to recognize is that, yo, like, because even your story, my story, different people's stories, like if people just listening to it in like 1 hour, it could just sound like, oh, it just sounds so easy and so simple. And it's like, no, you have to, there's still strategic things you need to do. There's still work that you need to put into, you know, and even after you get the job, there's still work you have to put in. So these aren't pipe dreams. This isn't a MLM type of Forex thing where it's like, oh, you just do this and do that and you filthy rich. It's like, no, it requires like serious work, like for real. And so,
but they're very lucky because you basically give everybody the blueprint. Like whenever I saw you and you were talking about tech and stuff, I was like, oh, he's really not holding back. So I started following everything you're saying. I could just tell you were being genuine. So I just watched all the videos and I just did what you said to do. And so, I mean, I think that we're lucky that you were there, you know, providing all that information because it has definitely changed my life.
That's so fire. And I'm gonna be very real, like honestly, that stuff is what means the most to me, like for real. Because because it's like it's dope. Like I was saying earlier, I'm sorry, tear up. I'm trying to stop. It's dope when
you're making you tear up.
Yeah, because I mean it is. It's like it's cool to like don't y'all get it twisted. It's nice making a lot of money. It's so nice. It's nice not having to check the bill for like restaurants and other stuff. It's like, it's just nice. It's like, man, but it's like the beauty of not having to worry about financial stress is that you can finally really worry about what you really care about. And it's like, you come to a place of like realization of what really matters. And it's like, yeah, for me, what I realized about myself is like, yo, the thing I really care about the most is really seeing people doing like just better in whatever area, whether it's their relationship with God, you know, whether it's like their money, like whatever it is. And so the thing that honestly touches me the deepest is like people being like, yo, Cyrus, thank you. Like this really like impacted my life. Like, it's like, man, that's really the thing that matters, like straight up to me. And so, yeah, thank you. Like, I'm happy for you. But beyond being happy for you, like, thank you for coming on live, sharing your story. Yeah, and just, it just means a lot. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate you, everything that you do.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. All right, cool. It's time to throw the thug back on. All right, so time is, so we got a little bit of time for a couple more questions. So someone said, when is the next tech event? We were going to have an event in May. Yeah, May, but we pushed it back because I don't want to have another tech event if we don't have at least several, if not dozens plus tech companies there that are hiring. So I really want to make sure that we're having tech events that are opportunities for y'all to talk to recruiters and stuff. Because we could have a tech event, and mind you, it'll be informative. We'll have We'll have like all type of tech influencers there for y'all to do photo ops. There'll be information that's shared that'll be beneficial. The DJ will be spinning. The drinks will be popping. The food will be good. It'll be a memory. But it's like, yo, just in my heart. It's like in my heart, I'm like, yo, I don't want to have events where I want to set people up for success as best as possible. And I think the best thing aside from all of that is, in addition to that, having tech companies that are there that are hiring. So at least X amount of people that are there are able to get set up on interviews with those companies and get jobs and be able to say, yo, I went to that Texas the New Black event and I got a job because I went to their event. And so like, that's what's been in my head. And so my team and I, we pushed it back a little bit where we're like, okay, we want to like get more tech companies on board to come out to the event. So anyway, though, if you go to techisthenewblack.com, you can hit the link in my bio and go to Tech is the New Black, or you can go to techisthenewblack.com in general. Actually, if you go to our website, you can put your email in you can sign up for our email list. We actually have an email list that's going to be going out starting next week, y'all. Like, it's a free email list. It costs nothing. The email list, we're going to be sharing with you. Upcoming tech events, not just ours, but upcoming tech events that we find in general, all around the U.S. and eventually all around the rest of the world. We're going to be sharing. Some tech companies that are hiring. We're going to be sharing tech news, like news that matters for us in our lives. I can't think right now. A few other things we're going to be sharing. And so you're not going to be getting bombarded. It's going to be once a week. But yeah, for those of y'all that are like, where are all the tech events at? Definitely go to techisthenewblack.com, sign up for the email list, and then you'll be getting all the updates on all the tech events happening in the U.S.
What was the big tech event that happened in like Austin this year? What was it called? Oh, that was tech. No, I went to, what was the other one that was here in Atlanta?
I thought you said in Austin.
No, there was one in Austin, and then before that, there was one in Atlanta.
Yeah, there were a few. There was Render. There was Black is Tech.
Black is Tech. No.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there was Render and what the hell is going on with this hat? Y'all don't be buying these luxury designer hats. These hats be acting crazy, y'all. Same thing for the shoes. Nike Air Maxes are 1,000 times more comfortable than some Givenchy, Balmain shoe. All them shoes is not as comfortable as Air Maxes. Nike Air Maxes are the best shoes to fight in, run in, all of that. Basketball, all that. Yeah, but so let's see. So it was Black is Tech, Render ATL. There was one other tech event. Afro Tech happened in Atlanta right after I got in tech. Like it was probably like a month and a half after I got in tech, but I just didn't go to it because life and because I was still kind of getting into the industry and figuring stuff out. And so, yeah. But y'all, there are a lot of tech events that, again, I'm 100% a supporter of like tech events that are, predominantly Black people. But y'all don't limit yourself to tech events that are just Black people. Like lean into being a unicorn. There's one thing I could say, lean into being the Black person at an event where there are not a lot of Black people. There are crazy opportunities when you're one of the few Black people somewhere where many times people will gravitate towards you because of that. So don't look at it like, oh, I don't belong. Look at it like, oh, snap, I'm adding some flavor up in this mug. Like really lean into being the unique person somewhere.
And sometimes they need a Black person at their company because that's how my company is. I'm the only Black person there. Yeah. There's like one Puerto Rican dude. Yeah. But I feel like they needed somebody Black to make it that.
They do, and they know they do. These companies know that they do. Yeah. So no, y'all, please, and so we're not gonna just share information about Black tech events. We're gonna be sharing tech events in general. And don't expect us to list an event as a black tech event. If they ain't got black in their name or Afro in their name, you probably ain't gonna know that they a black tech event. And so lean into them, like straight up, y'all, because it's pop. I paid for a tech event that was in San Francisco last week. I was literally on the cusp of flying, and the ticket was not a cheap ticket. It was like a $400 ticket, and I didn't even go to the conference. It was in San Francisco, and it was just, I was way too burnt out because I just flew back into Atlanta like the day before. And I was going to be at the tech event, fly back into Atlanta, and then 2 days later fly out for Miami. And I was just way too burnt out. So I didn't go, but I really wanted to go because it was an AI conference. And I was going to go there. I was going to make so much content. I was so hyped to go. But there's so many events, y'all. But we're going to make sure that we share all the events with everybody, all the events we're able to find. I literally just hired a person, and her primary job is to focus on everything regarding the email list. So like sending out the emails every week with the tech events, companies that are hiring, tech news, all that stuff. So y'all are about to see a lot with us. Tech is the New Black. We're expanding into a tech media platform where it's not just us just talking about jobs. Definitely going to cover that, but also talking about like what's all happening in this industry that like y'all should know about and be aware of. So, but anyway, off of that, no more sponsoring or doing stuff for Tech is the New Black. All right, so y'all. So we'll do 2 other questions because I know it's past your bedtime. Appreciate you so much for being on here.
One question, Iris, maybe you can help the person that was asking this one question. I think they were asking like, could they get a tech job with a criminal background? And I don't know.
So again, this is one of the questions that are answered in my FAQs already. Yeah. So y'all definitely check out my FAQs. Like when I go live, when I answer questions, 9 times out of 10, if it's a unique question, it's included in my FAQs. So that way y'all don't have to book a one-on-one. I charge my one-on-ones. Y'all don't have to wait for certain things. You can just go to my FAQs, free resources, free information is there. But to the criminal background aspect, and again, I answer this in my FAQs. It depends on what you have. If you have something where it's like, you know, and not saying this is what it is to the person, so don't nobody start looking at the person crazy. Let's speak just arbitrarily. If it's like sex, if it's like, okay, something sexual, domestic abuse, a hyper violent crime, armed robbery, and it's within like the past 5 years, 7 years, something like that, yeah, the likelihood of you getting a job in tech is very unlikely, very unlikely. But if it's not one of those, if it's something else, like it's a drug charge, or it's a I don't know, you didn't pay your taxes, or I don't know all the different charges and stuff that the people get. But if it's something else where it's like a non-violent crime, then it's like, yeah, tech companies are way more lenient on those. Now, I will also say that, let's say it is a violent crime, but you know, you found Jesus and you're like, yo, I've changed as a person, I'm different, I repent. You've grown, you've matured. I legit know people that have done some trash stuff that I've seen their evolution and seen their deep regret for what they've done, and they're like so ashamed. They're like, man, I can't believe I did all that thug stuff. That's so stupid. And it's like, I legit have seen friends get promoted at a company, not a tech company, but other companies. And then the company, after they got the promotion, the company did a background check and was like, oh, you know, you used to be a trapper, you used to sell drugs, you know, used to push that work, or whatever the kids say nowadays. The alcohol started to hit me. Y'all don't judge me too much. But I've seen those friends lose those jobs where it's like, yo, they were killing it, but it was because of some dumb stuff like that. So my suggestion would be, okay, if it is something where it's violent, or it's something where a lot of tech companies might not want to hire you, then go after what are called non-customer facing roles. Sales engineering is a customer facing role. Tech sales are customer facing roles because you're literally in meetings with customers. Customers sometimes can research you for whatever reason. They'll want to research you and see who you are before they're talking to you. So companies won't want to hire you if you're in a customer facing role if they know the customer could research you and find out that you don't have the cleanest history. So in that case, let's say you do have a terrible history, terrible past. The suggestion would be for you to go for a non-customer facing role in tech, like you being a software engineer, where you're never going to talk to a customer. Your literal job is to engineer, code, develop something behind the scenes for the company, where no one's going to research you. No customer, no client's ever going to research you because they're not going to know that you're at the company. They're not going to care. So consider that. Consider roles like that. Maybe a role like product, like, product, not product manager, or something in the product space that's not even product manager. So something, maybe manual QA, QA automation, stuff where you're never in front to front with a customer. All right, I'll let you choose any question that you see that you want to address.
Okay, I don't see any yet. Does anybody want to ask me a question or ask a question?
I'll ask her a question. You said that, like, does anybody want to ask me a question? Like, so innocent.
I'm looking and I don't see any right now. I saw some there.
I'll go to the question box. A lot of people send their questions to the question
box.
Yeah, they don't. I don't know why I don't give you access to it. They said, all right, we already answered how much does LinkedIn play a role. We already answered that. Or she already answered
You're
that.
welcome.
Okay. All right. How do interviews differ in tech sales or tech sales, whatever, in comparison to traditional corporate environments?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
So how are interviews different? How is it different interviewing in tech? What's the experience like interviewing in tech versus interviewing for traditional corporate companies?
Oh yeah, so traditional corporate companies, my experience has been my interviews were like just maybe one or two, right? In tech, I think I've done, for each company that I interviewed with, it's been like 4 or 5 interviews. And I mean, you're meeting all these people. You're just like, it's nerve-wracking a little bit because so many interviews. It's like 5. I don't know. Sometimes it's like 5 interviews. And so that's the difference to me. And then you're meeting the team and you might meet some sales people and they're trying to see also if you're a good fit for their culture. So it would do you some good to go on LinkedIn before you interview with these people, like find out what their names are and the days that you're going to be interviewing with them, but go on LinkedIn and get a vibe for, what type of person they are so that, maybe you might figure out something to talk about in the interview that'll make them feel connected to you.
That's some good advice. Yeah, you know what's wild? I know you probably felt overwhelmed that you were like, dang, I'm doing like 3 and 4, 5 interviews with all these companies. So that actually says a lot that a lot of the companies want us to do that many interviews with you. That means all of the companies, even the ones that didn't hire you, they all liked you a lot. Because I'm gonna be real, the majority of companies I interviewed with, I only had like 2 interviews. Like that was my average, was 2. But it wasn't because they didn't have 4 or 5 interviews. It was just because like after 2 interviews, they're like, yeah, no, we ain't feeling him. Like we ain't feeling him. But for them,
like that for me, sometimes I would mess up really bad on some of my interviews. I'd say something like, I don't know, I said something crazy. They will ask you so many questions, and some of it is like personality stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just remember like feeling so bad after some of my interviews, but you just keep going. And that's why I would say too, if you do have like a criminal record or you're worried about anything, I mean, just give it a try anyway. I mean, just give it a try.
Yeah.
Like my company didn't even do a background check. Yeah. So, I mean, you might look up and get something like that too. But also there was a story that I knew a guy, and his company found out that he was a smoker. They gave him a random drug test and found out that he was, smoking weed. And they kept him though. What he told them was, said, hey, look, I'm a good person. I don't have any other vices. You know, all this time that I've been at this company, I've been doing a great job. You know, you see my record. He's like, my only vice is that I smoke a little bit of weed sometime. And they asked him, well, can you stay clean for about 30 days and go take a drug test again? And he did, and he still worked there. So
yeah, many times a situation like that. So I'm happy you mentioned that last piece. Many times that's something for the investors. Sometimes the investors will be like, oh, we want to make sure, because many times investors don't work in tech. They're just people with money that are just giving the company. Because right now my company, so again, y'all, I'm a chief marketing officer with my company. I'm actually a part owner like with my company, and so I'm looped in with meetings and stuff as a C-suite exec, where it's like we're talking about investors that want to invest a few $1,000,000 in us, and we all talk about whether or not we want to allow them to invest in us and what they're bringing to the table. Mm-hmm. And it's like some tech companies, some companies in general are so desperate for money. My company, I'm in a beautiful position where myself and my team, everybody, all of us make, whether from our job and or from other things we do, all of us are making a lot of money where none of us really need like investor money. So we're all good. So we could turn down investors that are offering millions of dollars all the time. We don't really care if we don't think they're a good fit. But most other tech companies aren't like that, where sometimes if they got an investor that's like investing 5 million, 10 million, and that investor just for whatever reason says, I don't want to invest in a company where none of your employees are all of them have to be clean, or whatever the thing that it is. You know, I've had people not be able to come on my podcast because they're high up in their company, and they're like, we have investors that are watching us, and if they see me on your podcast, and they can analyze any little thing I say on your podcast that they don't agree with, and they could not want to give our company $50 million, and it could mess us up. So they're like, Cyrus, I have to wait until April or wait until this date before I could be on your podcast after we go through the round of investments. So sometimes stuff in tech is so interesting where it's like, there could be stuff where it's like, what? And it's like, usually there's other stuff behind the scenes that you don't, especially in a situation like that where they tell the person, look, just don't smoke nothing for 30 days. We will retest you.
Yeah.
Just don't smoke nothing. That's usually a case where the company doesn't care, but they have investors that care. And they're like, okay, we got to do this drug test. Just don't do nothing so we can have you tested. You'll be good. We'll be good.
If he was white or black, he was Mexican.
Look, I'm going to tell y'all, man, this is going to sound so... Y'all, man, listen. Race matters. Skin color matters. Gender matters. All these things matter. But I'm going to tell y'all, one of the things that will screw you over is you making that the primary thing in your brain. Where you're like, oh, is this because of this skin color? Is it because of that will screw you over? Because it's impossible for that to be the number one thing you're worried about, and it to not affect the way you interview or you perform during interviews. It to not affect the way you perform. Because think about it. Let's say you're a sales engineer. You jump into, every day you jump into interviews, not interviews, but demos with a customer or a prospect. So even if you got the job, you're a sales engineer. Every time you jump into a demo, 98% of the time, the customer and prospects are not people of color. They're white people. They're older white people. If you're so consumed with that stuff, it will affect the way you demo. And I know some people think like, no, it won't affect me. I can still know it will affect you, because that little stuff psychologically will affect the way they ask you a question, and your mind will process, oh, like they don't trust my ability. They don't trust what I'm saying because I'm this color, or because I'm this, or because I'm that. And that little bit of hesitation will eat up your performance during your demo. So again, all of these things matter. Your skin color matters, your gender matters, your belief, all those things matter. But you cannot make that the main thing. It has to be something that's like it cannot be at the forefront because it will screw you over big time.
Yeah.
Like straight up. And y'all see recruiter cousin. She's a black woman who's a recruiter in big tech. Even she said, you will psych yourself out if you think they probably aren't going to pick me because I'm black. She said it messes up your confidence because you're already defeated. You cannot. I'm gonna tell y'all that the thing that made me really a rock star is that when I went into interviews, even when I went into demos, I felt like I had some sauce on me because I'm black. I was
they think that sometimes too. If you go in there acting like that, then they're gonna be like, "Oh, we got this black person in here. They know what's hip."
Exactly.
And so you just act like that, and
yes.
you don't act like you're out of place. You act like you're supposed to be there, and you act like you know what's going on until you know.
That's really what it is. Even to the question about being like, okay, were they drug testing the person because they're black? Understand a tech company is not trying to get rid of a person of color. They want to keep a person of color because if anything, let's say it's a company that's racist, which is weird to say because it's like, okay, who's racist? Is the CEO racist? Is the hiring manager racist? The hiring manager can't just say, hey, I want to fire this person just because. HR is going to have to know why. It all has to make sense because they are all scared of getting sued. We talked about investors. Investors will not invest in a company if they think the company is racist or if the company is having a bad, like if somebody airs the company out on social media, even if the person cancels the company and the cancellation isn't legit, investors will not want to touch the company. Companies will lose. So even if it is a racist company, the company could potentially lose tens, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars off of that. Yeah. So even if it is a racist company, they're not going to allow their racism to affect their dollar bills. But that being said, again, it's very hard for an entire company, entire structure to be racist top to bottom. That's a tough thing within tech, especially because tech companies lean very liberal. But that being said, they're not wanting to lose women, people of color, because it helps their metrics. They love having, there are literal platforms that people go to where the companies are ranked based on the amount of people of color they have, based on the amount of women that they have. These are real things. So I really encourage y'all, and I get it because even as confident as I was, I still felt it more before I got in tech. I really want y'all to not hold on to this whole like, oh, I'm this, so because of that, they're not gonna want me. If anything, be like, because I'm this, it makes me unique in these companies. I would literally be in interviews like, I know y'all mainly interviewing white boys, and y'all see I'm black, and y'all need me, so what's up? Like, that would be my energy, like, straight up. And it would have been that even more if I was a black woman, where I'm like, y'all can check 2 boxes. I'm black and I'm a woman. So y'all better come with it. Tell me what y'all offering me. Like, what's up? Like, straight up. And that's like a real thing. Also, the reason why I share this is because there is a community of black people in tech. There's another community where all they do is complain about, oh, it's black people, I feel like I don't get this thing. I feel like I don't get that thing. I feel like I don't get this. And it's like, if you're complaining, please leave the industry. Because, like, please stop. Like, straight up. So, Kai, there go Kai right there, Kai, the squirrel guy you was talking about earlier. Okay. He said Cyrus drinks fruity cocktail. He only said that because we were on the triple date. And I told the waitress, he had some like fruity looking drink. And I told the waitress, I said, yo, whatever girly drink he has, I actually want to try it too. So that's why he drank that shade. But yeah, again, y'all, I don't want to, those things matter, but please, y'all, don't live your entire life wearing that on your forehead or wearing that on your sleeve where you think, oh, because I'm this, no one's going to love me, accept me. I'm not going to get certain opportunities. That will definitely happen. That will always happen. But it's like you can't live in that. You can't walk in that. At some point, you got to let yourself be free and be like, I'm gonna move with confidence. Whatever's for me is for me, despite my skin color, despite my gender, despite my beliefs, despite my sexuality, whatever that stuff might be. Like, you can't let that stuff put shackles on you, because it will affect the way you perform all throughout life.
Yeah, that's true.
Love you too, bro. Love you too, Kai. We were talking about you earlier, bro. All right, good stuff. Yes. So Shanae says you can't. It's exhausting. All right. So I've got you up way past your bedtime. So Aaron would love to give you the floor for any final words that you want to share.
Final words. I feel like Cyrus is a really good teacher. So if you get a chance and you haven't seen all of his videos, his FAQs, go back and watch all of them, because it'll give you a lot of knowledge. Also, I realized that whenever I was in my interviews, I would kind of just say some of the stuff that I heard Cyrus saying to sound like I was relating, and that I had been in the industry for a while, and it really worked. So I'd say go ahead and look at some of his videos. Connect with him if you can. I didn't tell you this. I paid for one of your classes, and I was really pissed. You know why?
Wow.
Because after I paid for your class, you started going on lives telling everybody all the information that I learned in your class.
Wait, I didn't see you in the I did like one webinar. Yeah. And I was gonna do more.
It was like,
but then
was it like a week? It was like a week.
It was 3 days. It was a 3-day webinar.
Yeah, 3 days or something like that.
You were in the webinar. I did not see you in the webinar.
Oh, you did, huh?
You were in the webinar?
I did that. Like, I paid, like, I forgot how much it was you had people pay.
It was like $500 or something.
Discount. I was like, because you were like, in 3 hours, I'm going to make the price go up. And I was like, can you just give me the cheap price? Did you? And you were like, no. And I was like, all right, fine. I paid it. I paid whatever it was. And then I did the thing. And then I was mad like the week after, because you started going on and you was drinking the same thing. And you was telling people, you were like, hey, I had this class and I'm not supposed to be telling y'all this, but I'm going to drop all the game. And I'm like, and you did. And you
I didn't drop all the game.
And you did.
I didn't drop all the game. I did share a couple.
A lot of stuff, though. A lot of gems you were dropping off.
Yeah, I did share a couple of things that were pretty exclusive.
But that's okay. It still paid off for me, so I ain't mad.
Still paid off. Now, one of the things I've realized with stuff is that most people, and I hate to say it, most people is like, you can give them all the information and they won't want to look at everything. They'll just be like, they'll want to look at a couple of things and be like, oh, okay, I'm good. I'm not going to do all that. Or they'll be like, oh, it didn't work for me type of thing. And then there are like people like yourself where you actually like look at the information, you use it, you condense it, like you do what you're supposed to do with it and take that and move forward with it. So I think that's really dope. Major congratulations to you, especially getting the SE role. That's really, really dope.
I am so thankful. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's literally the beginning. And literally you started out more than what I got, like starting out. Wow. So it's like, I'm so happy that you pushed for more. And yeah, I definitely hope that you continue to push for more with like other opportunities and stuff you get in the future. Look forward to like, seeing you. We definitely got to do like a whole photo op, all that good stuff. I mean, Kai is here in Atlanta too. We're not Atlanta, but Smyrna, something like that.
Thanks.
He in one of them places. But no, he's here too. So no, we definitely all got to like do like a photo op and all of that.
Yeah.
So.
Let me know.
Definitely. Yeah, again, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
I definitely follow her, tap in with her. If she's not responding to y'all's 50,000 questions, don't get frustrated with her. Like, she got a life, all that stuff.
I will try.
Yeah.
My best.
Definitely.
Thank you. And so many people stayed on the live the whole time. It's been 2 hours. So I really appreciate everybody's time as well.
Yeah, now this is dope. Now, thank you so much. All right, cool. I will talk to you later, ma'am. And yeah, all y'all be blessed. Yeah. You said what's her handle? If you don't look up at the top and see her name literally right up there, what's her handle? Look up. It's right up there. Now A.Wild Mystic. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Y'all be blessed. Y'all have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
All right, peace.
Bye.